Okay, hello. Siqalisa apha sithetha nge-for loop. Okay, i-for loop yenza ntoni basically? So i-for loop umsebenzi wayo is to repeat, let's say, as you can see, senze umzekelo so that uzokwazi ukuyibona kakuhle. These prompts are repeated like 5 times. So let's say you are having 100 students. As you can see, this prompt is prompting the user. Okay, what's this prompt saying? This prompt is saying, please enter the number of students in your class. So let's say the user said there are 100 students in his or her class. So that means you are gonna have to write the very same lines 100 times or 150 times. So as a good coder, let's say as a good coder, you need to be smart, or you need to do everything in an efficient way. So we use for loops in order for us to be able to only write these 2 lines, and then if for loop it repeats them 100 times, 200 times, according to i-condition yethu kwi-for loop yethu uba ithini. So it repeats them ngale ndlela sifuna ngayo, according to indlela esiyiseta ngayo thina, according to indlela esiyibhala ngayo. So umsebenzi we-for loop is only to repeat i-code efanayo according to ke loo number le ifunwa nguwo, yabo, loo number le ifunwa nguwo. So ndiza kubonisa i-for loop isebenza njani, ndicacisele sonke i-structure se-for loop uba sinjani. Ayehlukanga kwa i-loop, but yona indlela ebhalwa ngayo nendlela esebenza ngayo. So ndizokubonisa i-structure sayo uba sinjani njengangoku. So for i-for loop yethu uba usazi uba i-for loop, we will have the word for at the beginning of it, and then okay, here is the basic structure of a for loop. Let me say 200. Here is the basic structure of a for loop. Okay, so we are having this part and the middle part, and then this one. Okay, I'm gonna tell you here, we initialize, we declare and initialize our, let me say, our controlling variable, because it's a variable that controls this for loop. So here we declare and initialize it. Right here, this is our condition. So as it will repeat some lines of code, it will repeat those lines of code under this condition. So these conditions must be true in order for it to keep on executing those lines of code. And then here we are having our, that's where we increment our controlling variable. That's where we increment it. It's always like this. It's always like this. This never changes. This never changes. What changes is numbers and conditions. That's the only thing that changes. Otherwise, when you are told to write a for loop, this is the basic structure of a for loop. This is the basic structure of a for loop. This will never change, and you will only tweak it in order for it to suit you, or to suit, in order for it to be what you, in order for it to give you that desirable, or that output of which you desire, or that output of which you were told to achieve. For an example, we will be using a for loop to achieve this output. So we'll have to make it work for us in order for us to achieve this output. So we'll have to tweak this in order for it to reflect this output. Okay, as banisitsho ukuba i-basic structure ye-for loop lena. So le part le lapha ekuqaleni i-part of which is where we initialize and declare controlling variable yethu. This can be anywhere, ungayibhala noba ungathini, noba ungathi counter. So let's use counter and whatever for ukuba wena ungaconfuseki. And then as you can see, if we used counter here apho sideclare khona, we'll have to use counter kuzo zonke izindawo, so still iyabuyela iba right kwakhona. So njengoba ubona ke, so iyona basic structure lena i-condition, and then lena that's where we increment i-counter yethu. So what does this mean? This means counter plus plus, so that means we increment to counter by 1. We increment to counter by 1. Always we increment to counter by 1. We increment to counter by 1 after executing like those lines of code inside this for loop. Then we'll come back and increment to counter by 1, and then check our condition. And then if our condition is still true, we go back to the loop and execute those lines of codes, and then come back to increment our counter, and then check the condition, and then go back to our for loop. That's how it works actually. That's how it works. So isebenza nje ngolo hlobo nje kuphela, isebenza ngolo hlobo. Yeah, initially as uba u-counter engu-1, so we'll check i-condition. So ingaba u-counter apha counter initially sizoba no 1 as uba sim-initialize to 1, soba no 1. So ingaba u-counter 1 mncinci is less or equal to 5. Yes indeed, 1 is less and it is not equal to 1. So we are having an or apha phakathi naphakathi, as bundiva like ndithi counter is less or equals to 5. So we'll use less because yes indeed counter is less than 5. So we're using one of these. If one of these is true, then yeah, we go back to the loop, or we get into the loop. Yeah, and then we don't increment ngelo xesha, exactly ngelo xesha, as banisitsho like u-counter wethu ngu-1 ngoku, and then sizothi ingaba u-1 is less or equals to 5. Yes, 1 is less than 5. So we'll get inside the loop, and then after we executed those lines of code of which we will be having here inside this loop, and then we will have to come back and increment 1 as counter was initially 1, though then we will have to increment counter wethu by 1. As you can see in the chilwa upper, this simply means we are incrementing counter, we are incrementing the value counter by 1. So this will simply mean as uba ndisitsho uba sizongena kwi-loop for the first time, as uba u-1 emncinci kuno-5, so sizongena kwi-loop for the first time, and then siphume kwi-loop. Xa siphuma kwi-loop, ungabe singenile for the first time, then we'll have to come back and check condition. Okay, first of all we'll have to increment counter, so we increment counter by 1. Counter ngoku uzawuba ngu-2, and then after incrementing counter by 1 abe ngu-2, we will have to check i-condition uba ingaba ithini i-condition yethu. So i-condition yethu ngoku ithi siyayicheck u-counter wethu ngu-2, so ingaba u-2 mncinci or equals to 5. So yeah, u-2 indeed mncinci kuno-5, so we'll have to get inside the loop and execute whatever code is inside this loop. So that's how it goes, and then we will have to come back again after executing those lines of code. We'll have to come back to increment our counter, and then we will say 2 plus 1, and then that will be 3. Is 3 less or equals to 5? Yes, 3 is less than 5. As I've said, that we're taking one of these, and then if one of these is true, and then we will get inside the loop up until we'll keep incrementing our counter up until counter is no longer up until counter is 6. When we come back from the loop, when we okay xa ngaba sesingena kwiloop like okay mandiyenze like ndibonise ndiyenze oko isonke. Okay, kokuqala ucounter uzoba ngu-1 so ucounter mncinci kuno-5, ucounter is less than 5, and then singene kwiloop. Xa sibuya sim-incrementa ucounter wethu abe ngu-2, and then sicheck icondition. Xa sicheck icondition yethu ingaba u2 mncinci kuno-5 or uyalingana no-5, ya ucounter mncinci kuno-5, yabo. So siyangena kwakhona sokusecute whatever code inside loop, and then siphinde sibuye so-incrementa ucounter wethu abe ngu-3. Sicheck icondition ingaba u3 mncinci okanye uyalingana nano-5, ewe u3 mncinci kuno-5. Siphinde futhi sithini, sibuye sizo-incrementa ucounter futhi abe ngu-4. So siphinde check condition ingaba u4 mncinci kuno-5 okanye lingana no-5, ewe u4 mncinci kuno-5. So siphinde singene futhi because condition yethu ise-true. Siphinde check futhi uba ingaba okay si-incremente u4 which is ucounter wethu, si-incremente by 1 abe ngu-5, and then siphinde sizongena sizo-check condition since zifana ke, like I mean like since iku-5, so sothi ingaba ucounter is less or equals to 5. So counter wethu is 5 now. Ingaba 5 is less or equals to 5. So 5 yes is equal to 5. So yeah, we will get inside our loop and then execute whatever code, whatever code phakathi kulo loop leyo. And then when sibuya siphuma futhi loop sizophinda futhi so incrementa ucounter by 1 abe ngu-6. And then when checking our condition, ucounter must be less or equals to 5. So ucounter now is greater than 5. So condition yethu is no longer condition yethu is no longer true, and then we'll jump or we'll bypass whatever code is inside the loop, and then move it to the downside. That's how okay awufuneka like akunyanzelekanga uba ukwazi utracker ngolu hlobo, but bendifuna ukwazisa nje uba isebenza kanjani i-for loop, yabo. Akunyanzelekanga ukwazi ukuzitrackela wena, but in most questions you will have to, in some questions, let me say so, in some questions you will have to uba uyitrack wena like uba ihamba njani. Okay, sometimes ubuza uba izothini i-answer after executing le loop, yabo, izothini, izoba ngubani answer intoni kanjalo. So you will have to ukuba wazi uba ihamba isebenza njani loop, yabo, and iza kuncedisa nawe. Otherwise all you have to do is to have this structure and have your condition, and yeah, and you have to have the structure and have your condition, then that's where you will be able to, lapho uzokwazi khona ukwazi uba uzo-execute njani, like ithini indaba ye-execution, yabo, like nje. Otherwise yona uzokwenza nje structure izokwenzela yona uVisual Studio, but ke benifuna ukuxelela uba isebenza njani so that sizokwazi ukuqalisa siqhubeleke nayo. Kona nasi structure se-for loop sinje, yabo.